We will pause and hear from Donna Cravana, our State Director of Virginia Works. Thank you for being here, Donna. We will also allow our coordinator, Mr. Barry Richmond, to come forward and give us a panel discussion to educate us on what apprenticeships really means in our area. And so we're very excited for this opportunity. I want to take an opportunity, as we all know, Dr. Jerry Wallace will be transitioning out of his current president's seat to be going to West Virginia Potomac State College. And so at this time, we are very excited to have our interim president, Dr. Cornelius Johnson, come forward with some brief comments and remarks. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, VP Dalton. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So excited to kick this event off. I first want to give my appreciation to VP Dalton, Mr. Richmond, and our KTL partner, as well as our course representative from the state that's leading these efforts. I attended a national structured pathways meeting last week in Washington, D.C. about how to make students more successful and more prepared for industry. And the key topic, all the dignitaries that are around the table, presidents, vice presidents, board of trustees, etc., they said apprenticeships were the key component of ensuring that students are prepared for the future. And just to say, for all the students that are, of course, in the house, and wave your hand if you're a student here at DCC. All right, go Knights, go Knights. It's so important to understand that your preparedness for workforce begins while you're at college, right? It begins while you're, of course, learning things in the classroom, et cetera. And DCC, we're committed to ensuring that that infrastructure is in place. And that's what today's about. It's about ensuring that you have the tools, you have the opportunities that will allow you to have a competitive edge, not just here in Danville, but and not just here nationwide, but globally. We want to be globally competitive for the future. So congratulations to each of you. Thank our panelists that will be speaking today, as well as, of course, our own, of course, staff who have also benefited from this arrangement. So congratulations to you all, and have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. So as many of you are aware, this week is something very special. It is National Apprenticeship Week, hence the reason why we think it is a perfect time to highlight our partnership with KTL. So let's talk a little bit about National Apprenticeship Week. This is where employers, industry representatives, community members, and educational institutions can recognize and showcase the success and values of what we do with apprenticeships. Registered apprenticeship strengthens our economy by developing a highly skilled workforce to meet industry needs, creating pathways in today's event, such as we're doing today. This is an example of uplifting employers, apprenticeships, and training partnerships. Again, we thank you all for your support. We thank the instructors for their hard work. Thank you, KTL, for your investments and your trust with this partnership. Thank you to Miguel, the student that we're going to be highlighting today, and also our current registered apprenticeships that we have going on currently. At this time, we will continue with the agenda, and I will turn it over to Mr. Barry Richmond.
Thank you, VP Dalton. Today is a day that we've worked hard to get to over the last year or so. In fact, Dr. Johnson, myself, Dr. Wallace, and a couple of other folks were in Nebraska about a year ago, where we were attending an apprenticeship conference. And Dr. Wallace has a very strong background in apprenticeship. That was his baby when he came here, and it still is something that, as Dr. Johnson just mentioned, that's on the forefront and is definitely an initiative that will work well for us, but not just for Danville Community College, for our apprenticeship here at DCC, for KTL, and then any other industry. And that leads me into this as well. We have a couple of industry visitors, guests this morning, to be recognized. Goodyear, Mark, if you would stand, please. Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. And also from Empyrean X, a little bit further down the road, down 58 in South Boston, Halifax County. If you all would stand, please. And is there anyone else representing a company or industry here that I missed? Well, thank you. And again, today certainly highlights National Apprenticeship Week with us having a signing. And I just want to talk a little bit about what apprenticeship is. And as you saw on the flyers, it said we would go into a deep dive with apprenticeship. Well, the deep dive is going to come from the stories behind the Danville Community College apprenticeship, and then also with KTL. And with Crystal Lawrence, co-owner of KTL Restorations, their journey starts before this apprenticeship, and she'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But really, to understand what apprenticeship is, each one of you have a card in your seat or a card at your table. Pick that up. Now, there is a lot of apprenticeship legalese there. Basically, what that means is you learn while you earn. You have the opportunity to take advantage of both parts of the picture here. You have the opportunity to be in college, whether it's credit, non-credit, and then on-the-job training. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So it's intentional on-the-job training. Now, my background is in human resources. I was in human resources of what used to be Nestle Food Company, also with Gold Toe Brands Incorporated. And one of the biggest challenges that we had was having a structured, intentional training program, especially in maintenance. This gives us that opportunity to provide that. We were providing it in the automotive field. We're providing it here through IT. And then for those of you all here from South Boston and from Goodyear, for your needs as well within industry and manufacturing. So apprenticeship can fill the bill pretty much for anything that is trainable. If it's my new slogan is, if it's trainable, it's apprenticeable. We will look at it. It balances the apprentice's learning goals with specific work of the organization. I'm going to use my example from Nestle, and I'm going to talk about another company here in the area, Lighthouse. Both of them had the same type of manufacturing procedures and processes. They both are food manufacturing, but how they train and how they would apprentice someone in that program will look totally different. So I could be doing something with KTL, but somebody else in the automotive industry may do it somewhat differently. So it is catered toward that industry. The training may be generic in some instances. They get that here at DCC, but the specific part of it is going to happen on the on-the-job training. From day one, the apprentice is an employee. How does that differ from other training platforms? Well, if you look at internships, and you're going to talk, Crystal, more about some of those things, internships can be pretty much paid by anyone. It could be something that's through a grant. It could be something that's through a company. It could be a grant through KTL, a grant through Goodyear or whomever. But when it comes to apprenticeship, you have to be an employee of that company. And that's what makes it different. And also makes it more specific to the training and how we provide that. So I'll talk just very briefly about what apprenticeship is and what it isn't. But what are the benefits? Well, let's start with the benefits of the business. You get a skilled workforce. Now, granted, when you hire people, they are skilled. But we know in that world that it's going to be on-the-job training that's going to have to take place. And then you would expect improved productivity, because when someone is going through apprenticeship, they feel valued. I was going to share this story later, but I'll just interject it now. When we were in Nebraska last year with Dr. Wallace and Dr. Johnson and the others, there was a panel, and there was some very diverse group of people that were a part of that. And you would have thought I was talking to 50-year-old folks that had been working for 30 years. But no, we were talking about 20-somethings. And they were talking about the loyalty that they feel with the company that they had the opportunity to apprentice. So it does build that loyalty. It does build that. Is it a guarantee that you're not going to lose that person? No, you're not. But if that person was looking, they would be looking anyway. You stand a better chance when you invest with your people and keeping them and nurturing them and cultivating them. These people felt loyalty for the company. And again, we're talking about people that were very young. And yes, reduced turnover because now this, hey guys, industry, if you get a question from some of our students, I've kind of set the mark here. I told them when the company is in that interview and they say, do you have questions? Say, yes, tell me about your training program and do you offer apprenticeship? I said, you're not going to lose the job, but it's going to show that you know what you're looking for and you know what's important. And they may not have it. It may plant the seed. And so when you go to an interview, if they ask you, do you have any questions? Ask about the training. Ask about if there's apprenticeship. Just a quick question. Of the students that are here, how many of you all are working right now? Okay. You all are on my radar list. I will be in your classroom very soon. Customized training. I touched on that just very briefly because we can customize it on the educational side, and I'm going to use a term, it's called RTI, Related Technical Instruction, but on the school side, on the college side, we have ways of being able to work with that. So all conversation are going to be specific about what meets your needs. And also diversity. I mentioned, in Midwest Nebraska, they had a very diverse group of individuals that are taking advantage of apprenticeship. That was a year ago. And that program has really blossomed and grown at the time that we were there. So that's the benefits to the business. What's the benefits to you as the apprentice? Well, as I just mentioned a moment ago, it's a paid job. You are working and you're splitting that time. And Miguel is going to touch on that because, Miguel, you're splitting your time between working at KTL and here at the college. And I can tell you in my generation, it was very different. You went to school at night and you worked during the day, or either you were on an off shift and worked during the day. This is 2024. Things have changed, and there's a lot more creative ways that we can make this happen. Benefit to the apprentice, education. We have a credit side of the house. We have a non-credit side of the house. VP Dalton and I and Paul Farrar, I saw him in here early, and Chad Younger, he was here. We all work on the non-credit side, the workforce side. That allows us to be able to provide that customization. It allows us to be able to give that flexibility. And then in our structured program for the degree side, we can make that happen as well. So it's up to the company and up to the apprentice as to which route they want to go. And they may decide, midstream, hey, I kind of like this school thing. I want to go ahead and get a degree. Again, we can have that conversation. Dean Mann is standing back there. Talk to her. She's over our CTE. And then credentialing. It allows you to be able to obtain credentials. As I was talking with Stephen Edwards and talking with Sean Wilburn, that when we talk about credentialing, it's going to look different in automotive than it is in the trades. We're going for that journey workers card, but in their area, it's mechanical type of certifications that we can achieve. I've had conversations with a couple of dealerships here in the area. I hope that we will be able to bring some of their people on as apprentices. But the credentialing is very important. I am not going to say that it's less important than the education, the degree. But it has gained popularity and credibility in the workforce. And that's something that, again, that this apprenticeship program will allow you to be able to do. And then a jump start to your career. How many of you all have talked to people that have been in the same job for a very long time and it's just a job? Well, I saw some hands go up. Yeah, you're there. And so you want more than just a job. You want a career path. And this gives you an opportunity to make that happen. Whether it's at whether it's in restaurant and fast food or whatever, there are career paths that can happen. Whether it's CDL, again, that's a career path. And again, we do not discount anything not being apprenticeable. We look at it and determine if indeed we can make that happen. The degree potential is there. And probably the last piece for is a benefit to you as the mentor or you as the apprentice is mentorship. You know, we throw that word around a lot. We've seen it in a lot of different circles. Basically, it's an accountability partner. It's somebody that's there to make sure that school is going well for you. They make sure that the work, life, school balance is happening and that you're staying on track. That's what an accountability partner does. That's what a mentor does. And so for apprenticeship, it is mandatory that we have a mentor. And many of them today, and correct me, Donna, but it's one-on-one. And so that gives you what you need individually in that apprenticeship. It may limit the number of people we have at a given time, but we can stair step and cascade that in a way that will work. You know, we're going to talk in just a minute. I talked with Bracken and McKinley last week. Well, Bracken Jones, our IT specialist too, he's serving as a mentor and supervisor for McKinley. But I told McKinley once he goes through his journey, you may be a mentor. Guess what? We've doubled the number of mentors we have in our IT department here at DCC. The same, Miguel, one day you yourself may be a mentor at KTL.
Okay.
And this path can be anywhere from 1 to 5 years. And you may ask the question, well, why 5 years? Why is it going to take so long? It takes 2 years to get an associate degree at Danville Community College. Keep in mind, there's on-the-job training that's happening. And the good part about it is, too, and Bracken can attest to this, we've talked about the possibility that as McKinley is going through his IT apprenticeship, we may have to make some adjustments because IT is ever changing. And we can make that change along the way in the apprenticeship, on the RTI side, on the job training. It's very flexible. That sponsorship belongs to you, Imperion X. It belongs to you, Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, and it belongs to you, KTL. It's your sponsorship. We're just here to help it. We're just here to make sure that everything works well for both you and the college throughout this process. So again, that's sort of a Cliff Notes version of the benefits to the employer, Cliff Notes version to the apprentice. And I'm going to end here before we go into our panel. I have one more story to share. I mentioned that when we were in Nebraska last year, attending the apprenticeship conference, very diverse group on the panel, and I remember just looking at the myriad of people groups there, male, female, and whatever. And there was this young gentleman that I think he may have been first generation Latino gentleman. And as they were going through asking about where would you be if you weren't an apprentice in the program? And, you know, everybody gave the answer, well, I probably wouldn't be in college because I'm not the college type and this, that, and the other. And he kind of smiled, leaned back, and his comment was, I guess I would have been in jail. And we did the polite laughter. But then I asked the person who was the convener of that, I said, Katrina, what's his backstory? She said, oh, he's not kidding. He was traveling with a rough group of guys. She said, not only is he not in that group anymore, he's telling them, you need to get into an apprenticeship. Oh, and by the way, this 20-something-year-old was purchasing a home. So there are a lot of things that come across. You never know in life when one positive move can make a difference to what your pathway is going to look like. And apprenticeship is just one of those things that can happen. So again, feel free to reach out to me on the cards that are on your table and in your seats. My email and my number is there. And again, this is forewarning. I will be showing up in your classrooms. I think, Stephen, I might have you Monday, and I'm going to be in 2 tomorrow, Thursday. So be thinking about what questions you may have for me. Think about what things that may be important. Okay? All right. We will shift gears and now move into the panel discussion. And Bracken, I'm giving you the mic. And when the time comes, you can pull the strings for McKinley when it's his turn, okay? All right. So, you know, as I mentioned, back in February, I believe, Dr. Wallace gave us a charge that I want Danville Community College to be the first apprentice that we put into our program, because we can't champion something to the community that we're not doing. And so it was very important to him that this would happen. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to start with Crystal. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, what you do, and then to Miguel, and then to Bracken and McKinley.
I'm Crystal Lawrence, and I'm co-owner of KTL Restorations with my husband, Curtis, who's not here today. He is running the shop. And we are here on behalf of Miguel and starting our apprenticeship program, which we are very excited about.
Hello, my name is Miguel. I come to DCC and I work at KTL as partnership or half and half. I like it here. It's fun.
Good. Thank you, Miguel.
Bracken Jones, Assistant Manager of IT, Danville Community College, been here since 2007.
I'm McKinley Graves. I've been an IT specialist. I've been here since 2002.
And you can just hand it back over to Bracken. So, as we said, earlier this year, we established an IT apprentice. And in this case, we enrolled a seasoned employee in the apprenticeship program. That's McKinley Graves. 22 years, McKinley, is that correct? Okay. So, I guess for you, Bracken, why McKinley? Why was he the pick for this apprenticeship?
Basically, his position, he's our frontline person. We're a small IT shop. Small IT shops do the same thing as big IT shops. We have to use the same technology. And it was a good the apprenticeship program was a good opportunity to upskill your current employees and use it as an on-the-job training method to train your employees. And so that was the main issue.
And you touched on something too, Bracken. I'm glad you did that. You mentioned upskilling the employee. Once all this is said and done, where do you want to see McKinley in the department? What position?
Well, I like to see him be promoted to a help desk supervisor official title. That's it's a lot of responsibility. He somewhat does that now, but going through the Microsoft, which by the way, we're a Microsoft 365 shop. Don't get that confused with Office 365. It's a totally different product. But Microsoft 365 is a very broad product and technology. And by him getting certified in the various technologies like Teams, we're getting ready to go to Teams phones.
Yep.
It will better his skill set and be able to support the applicable technology that we use in our department.
And also, I want to highlight here, Danville Community College. We are an educational provider through this institution. We went to the outside to get the skill sets that we need for McKinley to have for this help desk supervisor. We are utilizing Microsoft training classes and Microsoft certifications because that's what's going to be needed. Danville Community College, I mean, we're the biggest training provider in the area for industry, for you name it. But sometimes we don't have everything. And in this case, yes, Microsoft, they have the expertise. We will work to make that happen. McKinley, let me ask you this question. When Bracken approached you, what interested you in the apprenticeship program? Why did you say yes to that? You've been here 22 years. You're comfortable. Everything's going great. You're good in your profession. But what sparked that interest?
Well, in IT, everything is always ever changing. And so you can't just become stagnant in what you know. And so this gave me an opportunity to learn more skills and more information than I already knew.
Okay. And so you also are doing a balance. And let me share this. I didn't mention this before, but McKinley comes with a wealth of IT knowledge. His transcripts were evaluated just as we do with everyone. McKinley needed no more IT education or the RTI I mentioned before. It was all on the job training. We made the decision to say, no, he doesn't need anything else from that standpoint, but Danville Community College needs the skill sets from Microsoft for him. So really that's the gravy. That was the icing on the cake that made that happen for him. Even when, and that's the other thing, even if the person comes with all of the education, you can say, you know, I really would like for them to be able to get some exposure and training in whatever you fill in the blank. That can happen as well. So again, that looks at the flexibility. But McKinley, you're having to balance the on-the-line training that you're doing now with your work. How does that work? How are you balancing that? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, mainly what I have to do is I have to block off time to actually go through the Microsoft training, because in IT we're busy all day.
And you set aside a designated time as much as possible?
Yes.
And what is that time that you're trying to utilize?
Well, right now I'm using the time at the end of the day at 5 to 6.
Okay, all right. And we'll shift gears here to KTL. So, Crystal, you see apprenticeship as something that's going to be beneficial to your company, but actually you've been doing some things prior to apprenticeship, and some of that story revolves around Miguel. You want to share on that?
I would love to. So it's been 5 years in the making. I'll sum that up real quick. But KTL, for those of you who don't know, we are automotive restoration. We're antique automotive. We're nationally known, but not very locally known. So getting involved with our youth was very important in multiple ways. But 5 years ago, my daughter, who is sitting with us today, was approached by somebody at her high school and was told, do you really want to do what your mom and dad do for a living? And if you know me, I'm a little bit of a bulldog. So instead of taking that and doing what I would have normally done, which is go up there and say some words, I did not. I went to my husband and said, what can we do to make it important for our youth? To make it important for what my husband did, because we're a second-gen owned business. So he started doing this when he was very young, and he restored a car at 13. What can I do for them to get them involved? That grew into something called Operative Talent, which I now 501 is our 501. And then 3 years ago, VP Dalton and I emailed when she was at PCTC. And that turned into a very big relationship, of which we put 6 kids through our program within 2 years. I'll put another one through who was at another college. And I will say out of those 7, 4 of them are full-time employed at KTL now, Miguel being one of them. So he's our first apprentice out of DCC. But that shows right there statistically that what we are doing is so important for their future. We have full-time employees. They've come out of college, they've got opportunities, they're making money, they're doing skill training, and every single one of them has had an opportunity outside of graduating high school. So it's really important that we're sitting here today doing this with Miguel.
And do you want to talk a little bit about the specifics of the restoration about your business at KTL? I can brag about you all day, but you can talk about it a whole lot better.
Barry likes to visit the shop. So we restore high-end antique automotive. If you guys are familiar with Barrett-Jackson or Mecum or the largest automotive trade show, SEMA, then we're involved in all of those. And we tour the country. We build very, very high-end vehicles. But he's learning skill sets as far as way outside of the classroom, how to restore parts. The aftermarket is changing daily. So even on an IT side, IT is changing consistently. You would think that an antique vehicle, there's nothing that changes with it, and that's not true. Technology is growing every single day. So he's getting hands-on skill sets with brand new parts that are coming out in the market. We're getting to learn.
Yep. And I do, it's funny you mentioned that. My dad was 50 years as an auto body shop manager at the Buick dealership here, and he chose to retire when the computer came in. And that was just, something he chose not to go that direction. But even back then, we saw the technology changing. So, yeah, ever much so. But again, things have evolved, and these are great opportunities for these trades. So I will pass it over to Miguel.
Thank you, Barry.
Real quick, why did you choose Miguel? You mentioned you had other people, and this is just the first of many that's going to come through that program, but why Miguel? Why was he your first choice?
So he came to us from PCTC and excelled greatly when he came in. So we handpicked students from the VOTEC school that were eligible to come in and work on our program. He was one of them. Then when this happened, it just all fell in place. It was the perfect opportunity for us to do our apprenticeship program and get him involved.
Okay, thank you. Miguel? So you mentioned that you're going to school here at DCC, and remind us again, when did you start here?
I started here in the fall semester.
Okay, so very recent. Okay, and then you started KTL.
I started KTL last year of September. I was in school.
Okay. Did Crystal approach you about this opportunity?
Both her and Crystal went to PCTC, and they gave us like a little rundown of what operative talent was.
Yeah.
And that caught my attention since I always liked working on cars.
Mm-hmm.
So they offered to let us into their shop and show us around the same day that they went to PCTC. And that's when I went, and that's how we started 3 weeks. Like see what I could do in those 3 weeks, and we went from there.
And, and hold on to that mic for a minute. That's something that a lot of times when I go into industry and look at people that they are recommending, I have I think it's 9 steps, and I've got some of that posted on the table up front. But I will tell companies, you already here at step number 4. You may already have someone chosen. You have someone that may be in school, and you have someone that may be seasoned that you feel like, hey, they will make a good apprentice. Hey, I can invest my time and efforts into that individual. And so a lot of times it's already started. A lot of times RTI may be well on its way. But if it's not, we can start from scratch. We can make, those strides happen. But in this case, he's already in school. And obviously you have to have the job to be in an apprenticeship. But you already were at step 3 or 4 when we start having the conversation. So, Miguel, when you were approached and had that opportunity for apprenticeship, how did that make you feel?
Kind of value, like, they actually care about what's going on and not just doing this for other reasons. And like, they actually want to invest time and money into me so I can further my future and come out successful.
That's the kind of stories we heard in Nebraska last year. And so if it can happen in Nebraska, if it can happen at KTL, it can happen to you all out here now that are working in places. And so, again, apprenticeship, it's a great opportunity. We are starting to see these things now happen here at Danville Community College. I'm going to go ahead and do something. Students, industry, any questions that you have for our panelists? Okay. Crystal?
If there's a company here who's not doing this, please do. It's proven it works, and we're all in trade, and there's trade deficits, and that's one reason that I started this. So it works, and they're worth it. So if you're not doing it, do it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chris, we have a question in the back.
Okay, yes.
How long are the apprenticeship programs for KTL and the other?
So I know at Danville Community College, we can go up to 5 years on that. I'm not sure. How long is that bracket for us? Do you know?
I think so. I think you're right. I think we're going 2 5 years.
Yeah.
For us, it would be hopefully less, and we would tailor it for our specific needs.
Okay. And for you all?
Truly the same answer. It's 5 years, but we would want to tailor that to.
Yeah, because things may move faster. Or if
Exactly.
you need the time, you have that cushion. So to answer your question, it can start out shorter. We can add onto it if we need to, or we can detract if things are moving more quickly. Okay. All right. Well, see no more questions. I will introduce our keynote. Donna Carvana is the State Director for Virginia Works. I had a chance to meet her face-to-face the 1st of October, and I know she's a good person because she grew up in the same county as I did, Caswell County, just across the line. So join me in welcoming Donna Carvana.
I'd like to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity to come before you and speak this morning. And I am a 18-year veteran in registered apprenticeship. I started out as an apprenticeship consultant. And at the time, 18 years ago, everybody was convinced they had to go to college in order to have a career. So I spent a lot of time pulling people and begging them just to hear what I had to say. And we have come full circle at this point in time. And part of the reason is because people like me and many of us that are in the audience, we're aging out. And I'm here to encourage all of the youth to look at the opportunity to be an apprentice, because you are the future. One of the things that I have seen over the years, and I'm going to use an example, the plumbing. To be a plumber in the state of Virginia, it takes 4 years. Most people don't want to go into the plumbing trade. And because of years and years and years of people not wanting to go into the plumbing trade, guess what? You got to pay a plumber $100 to even show up at your house. And that's because there are not enough people in the industry. And that plumber now makes as much as a doctor who has a degree. Think about that. Registered apprenticeship offers you an opportunity to learn on the job as you're actually working, and then you take related technical instruction, school courses to help you to learn the occupation. I have done this a long time, and one of the things that I can tell you, and I want to talk to that term, speak to that term piece, there are many apprenticeships. The term of an apprenticeship, or the amount of time that it takes to get through an apprenticeship program, is dependent on the occupation that you select. It will take you 4 years to be an electrician, a plumber, HVAC technician, okay? Now, to be an accounting assistant, 1 year. To be an admin assistant, 1 year. To be a phlebotomist that actually works in a hospital and takes fluids, 1 year. There are occupations that are available through apprenticeship that don't take you as long as a 4-year degree, that will give you the opportunity from day one, you're getting paid. And so I encourage any and everyone to go into apprenticeships, because the other thing about apprenticeships is that you learn a skill set. And I'm here to tell you, once you have a skill set, no one can take that away from you. No one can tell you when you can use that skill set or not, because that becomes a part of you. So I have worked with companies that started out as a mom and a pop, and I call them my mama papa shops. And I refer to this company all the time, small company, mama papa. They had one apprentice, electrical company. This was when I was early in my apprenticeship years. That electrical company today has 15 employees, and each one of them was apprenticed. Now, I have worked with apprentices that have gone into electrical and other trades, and one of the things that they do is they buy a van as soon as they complete their apprenticeship program, and they do side work. They got an opportunity to work part-time for themselves because they have the skill sets that they have learned while working on an apprenticeship program. I encourage all of the companies that are here to think about apprenticeships because, number one, We help you to develop a program, a training program that is proven across the United States, and it doesn't cost you a dime. We help you to develop the on-the-job training based on your specific needs, and it doesn't cost you a dime. We help you to actually market your program and will give you assistance to find that talent pool, and it doesn't cost you a dime. So I encourage that each of us should start looking at apprenticeship opportunities, because apprenticeship is for your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your cousin. You're never too old to be an apprentice. I tell older people that are thinking of retirement or changing careers, the person that measures your eyes for glasses, that's an apprentice. Generally, it's an optician apprentice. They measure glasses, and that occupation is 3 years. You're getting paid the entire time. There are so many occupations that are in the state of Virginia that are in need of youth. I am here to encourage you, but also to kind of scare the older people a little bit. Do you know that over 50% of our population is now 45 and older? We age out. We got to give the knowledge that we have acquired over the years to the next generation. Apprenticeship allows you that opportunity to pass on that knowledge you have gained on the job to the next generation. And let's face it, guys, for as long as we live, you're going to have a car to drive. You're going to have a house to live in. That house has to have heating, electrical, a roof. It has to have plumbing. As you look around you, most of the things that you see that need to be a part of our life that make us comfortable are going to have to be repaired at some point in time. Guess what? Those occupations are apprenticeable. So I encourage you to consider registered apprenticeship. Lastly, I want to congratulate Danville Community College. Danville is the first community college in the state of Virginia to be an intermediary. Who would have thought that Danville would be the first community college to be an intermediary in registered apprenticeship? What does that mean? That means that Danville now can go out and help companies to develop training programs in registered apprenticeship. And there are over 2,000 apprenticeable occupations. So whatever the needs are in the community for training and for community development, apprenticeship can give you that. Apprenticeship offers communities the opportunity to capture some of the talent that is in that community that may move away looking for opportunities. We as a community must ensure that the next generation has an opportunity to grow and to thrive. And I want to say again, thank you all for allowing me to come and congratulate you on this marvelous accomplishment.
Thank you, Donna. And thank you for your support. Without Virginia Works and everything you've done for us, we have not been able to make that milestone. So thank you. So we are here to have a signing. And so it is time that Miguel has the opportunity with KTL to sign his apprenticeship partnership with Danville Community College and KTL. We are excited for you. We are excited to have KTL join us. We feel like we are just beginning this work. And with Donna Cravana and Virginia Works, we know we will have the support. So Barry, I'll let you come forward and help with that. We have to make it official. All right, let's go ahead and sign.
Okay.
Congratulations.
All right, that makes it official. Thank you.
Again, thank you for joining us and thank you for this opportunity.